Hello friends! Today we are going to talk about modal verbs that express probability, possibility, and logical assumptions. There are many modal verbs in English that we use to talk about something that is highly probable or possible to happen. To make our lesson more structured and easier to follow, we are going to start with the modal verbs that express the highest level of probability – will and must. В английском языке существует множество модальных глаголов, которые выражают возможность или вероятность совершения действия. Все эти глаголы отличаются по уровню уверенности говорящего в своем предположении. Давайте с вами начнем с глаголов, которые выражают наибольшую уверенность говорящего. Это модальные глаголы will и must. Will. We know that will and won't are used to predict a future action. For example, his latest book will be out next month. I will visit you soon. I'll see you later. But they are also used to express what we believe or guess to be true about the present. For example, you've got a letter from Canada. It'll be from my Aunt Freda. It's Monday morning, so I guess right now Sarah will be taking the children to school. Will indicates an assumption based on our knowledge of people and things, their routines, character, and qualities. For example, leave the meat in the oven. It won't be cooked yet. Must. We use the modal verb must to express a strong probability. In other words, the speaker is almost sure that something is true to reality because he has good reasons to expect that. For example, it's 10 o'clock. He must be in the office now. Сейчас 10 часов. Он должен быть в офисе. Meaning, I'm almost sure of that because today is his working day and he is usually at his desk in the morning. We use must to form a logical assumption about something, but it is less certain than will because we do not have all the facts. For example, he must be a teacher. I have seen him at teachers' conferences several times. Logical assumption. Он должно быть учитель. Я видел его на конференциях учителей несколько раз. They have a huge house. They must be rich. Logical assumption. У них огромный дом. Они должны быть богаты. Must, in the meaning strong probability, forms two tenses, the present and the past. The present tense is usually formed by one of the following structures. Must plus simple infinitive without to. For example, it must be Mr. Smith. They must know his address. Must plus continuous infinitive. Verb plus ing. For example, he must be working on his report at the library now. There is no light in the windows. They must be sleeping. I must be getting old. В этом случае must выражает предположение, что действие происходит в момент речи или на протяжении настоящего периода времени. Note: strong probability in the future is not expressed by must. Instead, we can use will plus probably, evidently. For example, he will probably come tomorrow. If we say he must come tomorrow, it means that we talk about an obligation or a strong necessity. Negative form. Note that we do not use mustn't to form a negative assumption. We use the modal verb can't instead. For example, this must be her daughter. They look very much alike. This can't be her daughter. They don't even look alike. Not this mustn't be her daughter. Remember, we use mustn't only to talk about prohibition. For example, you mustn't smoke here. We can use must to talk about probability referring to the past actions. There are three common structures for that. 1. Must plus have plus past participle. For example, she must have left for New York already. Она, должно быть, уже уехала в Нью-Йорк. He must have told her the truth. Он, скорее всего, сказал ей правду. She must have caught cold. Она, вероятно, простудилась. 2. Must plus have plus continuous infinitive. Verb plus ing. For example, she must have been walking her dog at 7 o'clock yesterday. Она, должно быть, выгуливала свою собаку вчера в 7 часов. He must have been still sleeping when she called him in the morning. Он, должно быть, все еще спал, когда она позвонила ему утром. They must have been dating for a long time before they got married. Они, наверное, долго встречались, прежде чем пожениться. Note: the second structure might also express the speculation about an action that started in the past and is still in progress. For example, they must have been discussing the question for 2 hours now. Должно быть, они обсуждают эту проблему уже 2 часа. Предположение о том, что действие, начавшееся в прошлом, продолжается до настоящего времени. 3. Must plus have plus passive infinitive. For example, he looks happy. He must have been offered a new job. Он выглядит счастливым. Ему, наверное, предложили новую работу. It must have been done already. Это, наверное, уже было сделано. The letter must have never been answered. На письмо, очевидно, так и не ответили. Пассивный залог и отрицание. Итак, давайте подытожим все, что мы узнали о модальных глаголах will и must. Will выражает наибольшую степень уверенности в том, о чем мы говорим. Эта уверенность основана на нашем знании людей и вещей, их характерах и качествах. Must используется для выражения того, что, по нашему мнению, является наиболее логичным или рациональным вариантом некой ситуации. Мы не имеем всех фактов, поэтому must обладает наименьшей уверенностью, чем will. And now let's move on to our next modal verb that expresses strong probability. Should. Expresses what may reasonably be expected to happen. Expectation means believing that things are or will be as we want them to be, or that something is going according to plan. For example, he should be in Rome by now. Let's call him. Он должен уже быть в Риме. Давайте позвоним ему. She should be back in about an hour. Она должна вернуться примерно через час. The lecture should be interesting. Лекция должна быть интересной. We can also use shouldn't to form negative statements. For example, this task shouldn't be difficult for you. Это задание не должно вызвать у вас затруднений. It shouldn't take long to drive to the store. Дорога до этого магазина не должна занять много времени. This dress shouldn't cost more than $50. Это платье вряд ли стоит больше $50. Should can express a strongly expected action referring to the present, future, or past. Present. It's Sunday. She should be at her mom's house. Turn on the TV. Allison should be giving her speech right about now. He should arrive in Chicago tomorrow. We should be moving into our new house soon. Past. Where is Alexander? He should have arrived an hour ago. She should have received my letter last week, but it was delivered only yesterday. Note that should is not used to express negative or unpleasant ideas. It has the idea that we want the action to happen. For example, you should pass the exam. You've worked hard. Not you should fail the exam. If we talk about negative or unpleasant event, we'd rather use will. For example, the underground will be very busy now. Not the underground should be very busy now. Should, in the meaning of expectation, has a close synonym, ought to. It can substitute should in all of the above examples, except for the negative forms, but is now becoming less and less common in everyday English. Let's look at some examples. He ought to, should be at home now. There ought to or should be no difficulties. She ought to, should have arrived yesterday. Before we move on to the modal verbs that express possibility, let's do some exercises to practice what we have already learned. Choose the most appropriate answer to express strong probability, expectation, or logical assumption. It's 10 a.m. He must be in the office now. Try calling him in the evening. He should be home by 8. I can't find my car keys. I must have left them in my office. They live in a very big house. They must be rich. I'm worried. He should have arrived 2 hours ago. Where can he be? Let's watch the film about meteorites on Channel 6. It should be interesting. There is no one by the name Lisa here. You must have misdialed. This homework shouldn't take you too long if you've understood what you have to do. And now, let's talk about modal verbs that express possibility. The word possibility means that something is possible, but that other variants also exist. Such possibility is expressed by the modal verbs may, might, and could, meaning that the speaker thinks something is possible, but doesn't know for sure. Therefore, he implies maybe or perhaps. Глаголы may, might и could употребляются в английском языке для выражения возможности или вероятности совершения действия в прошлом, настоящем и будущем времени. Чаще всего такое предположение выражает оттенок сомнения или неуверенности. Давайте сначала рассмотрим примеры с глаголом may. Expresses the possibility that something will happen or is already happening. For example, we may go to Spain this year. We haven't decided yet. Future. He may write to us. Future. He looks tired. He may be sick. Present. She may know about it. Present. He may be sleeping. Present. The action might be happening in the moment of speech. They may be watching TV at the moment. Present. The action might be happening in the moment of speech. Where's Sandra? I don't know. She may be having a bath. Present. The action might be happening in the moment of speech. We can use may plus not to form negative statements. For example, he may not be there now. Возможно, его там сейчас нет. I may not go to the party tonight. Может, я сегодня не пойду на вечеринку. She may not come. Возможно, она не придет. May может употребляться для выражения возможности и вероятности, относящихся к прошедшему времени. The structure is may plus have plus past participle. For example, where was your girlfriend last night? I think she may have been at the cinema with her friend. He may have left already. She may not have known his address. Отрицание в прошлом. She may have been walking her dog yesterday in the evening. Продолжительность действия в прошлом. May has a close synonym, might, which also expresses possibility, but is slightly less certain. Глагол might также выражает вероятность или возможность совершения действия в настоящем, прошлом и будущем времени. Но обычно он выражает меньшую степень уверенности, чем глагол may. For example, I might not be back in time for supper, so don't wait for me. It might rain. Take your umbrella. We might return on Monday. Her sister might be reading a book now. Предположение, что действие совершается в момент речи. He might not come back soon. Отрицание. We might not be in time for the movie. Отрицание. Might plus have plus past participle выражает возможность, вероятность совершения действия в прошлом. For example, she might have left Liverpool. Она, возможно, уехала из Ливерпуля. He might have visited them yesterday. Может быть, он был у них в гостях вчера. He might have told her the truth. Возможно, он сказал ей правду. But he might not have come back yet. Возможно, он еще не вернулся. Действие началось в прошлом, но еще не закончилось. They might have been sleeping when she called them in the morning. Они, возможно, спали, когда она позвонила им утром. Продолжительное действие в прошлом. And the last smaller verb expressing possibility is could. Could expresses theoretical possibility of something happening. It is used in a similar way to might, but is even less certain. Модальный глагол could выражает теоретическую возможность совершения действия, но с еще меньшей степенью уверенности, чем модальные глаголы may и might. Let's look at the following examples. Could. Where's Harold? He could be in the garage. Где Гарольд? Возможно, он в гараже. Теоретически это возможно, но это просто предположение. He could be at school or at home. Он может быть в школе или дома. Наличие нескольких возможностей. The film could be worth seeing. It had a good review. Возможно, этот фильм стоит посмотреть. У него хорошие отзывы. Could also suggest that something is less likely or that there is some doubt about it. For example, we could stay with Jessica in London. It's possible if she's there. It could be John, but I can't see clearly. You could be right. I'm not sure. Could не используется для выражения будущей вероятности. Для выражения предложения в отрицательной форме со значением возможности и вероятности употребляется форма may not или might not. For example, you might not be right. Not you couldn't be right. The film might not be any good. Not the film couldn't be any good. Couldn't или can't используются только для выражения удивления, сомнения или недоверия. For example, it couldn't be true. Не может быть, чтобы это была правда. Anton couldn't be lying to us. He is an honest man. Не может быть, что Антон лжет нам. Он честный человек. It couldn't have been Tom. Tom was in Chicago last week. Это не мог быть Том. Том был в Чикаго на прошлой неделе. She couldn't have said it. Не может быть, чтобы она сказала это. He couldn't do that to me. Он не мог так со мной поступить. She couldn't have a 10-year-old daughter. She's only 21 herself. У нее не может быть 10-летней дочери. Ей самой только 21. Конструкция could plus continuous infinitive, verb plus ing, может употребляться, когда высказывается предположение, что действие совершается в момент речи. She could be waiting for you near main entrance. Она, может быть, ждет тебя возле главного входа. He could be still playing tennis at the club at the moment. Он, возможно, все еще играет в теннис в клубе в данный момент. Could plus have plus past participle может употребляться для выражения возможности и вероятности, относящихся к прошедшему времени. For example, I can't find my iPod anywhere. You could have left it at home. Я нигде не могу найти свой iPod. Возможно, ты оставил его дома. He could have had an accident. Возможно, он попал в аварию. I really don't know where he could have been last week. Я действительно не знаю, где он мог быть на прошлой неделе. He could have been working late. Возможно, он работал допоздна. Продолжительное действие в прошлом. Before we continue with some exercises, let's summarize what we now know about the modal verbs may, might and could expressing possibility. Давайте подытожим все, что мы сегодня узнали о модальных глаголах may, might, could, и рассмотрим еще несколько примеров с ними. Модальные глаголы may, might и could, может быть, возможно, употребляются в английском языке для выражения разной степени возможности и вероятности совершения действия в настоящем и будущем времени. For example, where's Mike? He may be in the garden. Наибольшая степень уверенности. He might be in the attic. Меньшая степень уверенности. He could be in the garage. Наименьшая степень уверенности. Конструкции may, might, could, plus be, plus verb and ing могут употребляться, когда высказывается предположение, что действие совершается в момент речи. For example, they may be watching TV at the moment. Her sister might be reading a book now. She could be waiting for you near main entrance. May, might, could, plus have, plus past participle могут употребляться для выражения возможности и вероятности, относящихся к прошедшему времени. For example, why didn't he go to the party yesterday? He may have been busy. He might have been sick. He could have been too tired to go to the party. Конструкции may, might, could plus passive infinitive могут употребляться для выражения пассивного залога. For example, this work may be done tomorrow. She might be offered a new job. It could be done in a different way. Questions. May, might, and could have differences in their use in questions. May and might, in the meaning possibility, are not used in questions. Instead, we use such phrases as be likely, be possible, be sure, etc. For example, is he likely to return soon? Is it possible that she is at home now? Are you sure that he told Mike about it? Could can be used in questions, but we need context to distinguish the meaning possibility from the other meanings of could. Compare. Could he be lying to us about his past? Possibility. Could you be more specific? Request. Could he write in English when he was 15? Ability in the past. Could he have written this letter? Possibility. And now we are ready to do some exercises to see if we understand the modal verbs expressing possibility. Choose the most appropriate answer to express possibility that is not very strong. He may be able to help you. She could be at the swimming pool or in the park. It might not be as easy as you think. Maria's little baby may be sleeping. The old woman might have forgotten to lock the door. She may have left for New York already. Is he likely to come back before 6 today? Could Jim have written it? He said that he might go to Italy in June or July. I may be quite late, I'm afraid. That was quite a lot of information today, but I hope that now you know how and when to use the modal verbs expressing possibility, probability, and logical assumptions. Have a great day and good luck!